but why don't you tell me what happened between the two of you?
Sure, I'll start with the jacket. I'm not familiar with the designer. However, when I did purchase it, I purchased it from a thrift store that resold clothing and wardrobe from movie sets. The jacket was a leather jacket that Wolverine wore in the X-Men movie, so that was why it was valued at that
That's
price.
Wolverine's jacket? By the way, you have the jacket with you.
I do.
And you have it so neatly packaged in that bag.
I typically don't travel with trash bags, but I thought it was fitting considering the situation.
So tell us, how did you meet?
So I met Saturne at a Juneteenth festival, I want to say maybe around 2021.
And tell us, what is the Juneteenth festival?
So just a celebration of Black independence, and met Saturne there, and we bonded off of our love for art, love for movies, our similar traditional backgrounds and cultures. We even dated for a little bit. Throughout that time, I realized that she wasn't the woman for me. In my opinion, I thought the relationship was very one-sided. I decided that this isn't gonna work out. Cut ties, very civil, no problem whatsoever. A few years later, I randomly run into Saturne on my block in front of my apartment. Completely surprised. I'm a man of faith, so I thought, well, she isn't a woman for me, but maybe we could be friends. I'm all about community, so stopped her, said hello. I was very surprised that I saw her in front of my apartment. She asked if she can come inside my apartment. Wasn't planning on doing that or inviting her up, but I was like, sure, no worries. Invited her up, showed her around, we started talking, reconnecting. She told me that she lived across the street from me, up the block. Very surprised about that, so I said, okay, well, maybe we could be friends. She invited me over to her apartment for dinner. I said, wonderful. I show up to her apartment, and to my surprise, she didn't have dinner. She didn't even have groceries. So we go buy groceries. She said she's very cold. I'm wearing that same jacket at that time. I offered her the jacket off of my shoulders to comfort her because she says she's cold. I was expecting for us to split the bill. She looked at me like I was crazy. So I said, no problem whatsoever, I'll pay for it. We go back to her place, we have a lovely dinner, we reconnect.
Did she cook?
She cooked. She cooked at that point, so yes. As I leave, she didn't offer my jacket back, but I thought, you know what, not a big deal. She lives across the street from me, I can get it back whenever. About 2 days later, I invited her out to another filmmaker event. I knew at the time that she wasn't working. I thought this might be a great opportunity for her to connect with other filmmakers, other writers. Told her, I'm gonna pick you up at 7.
Well, let me just stop you for a moment. So far, is this accurate?
Absolutely not, Your Honor, and I have my evidence to prove it. I didn't want to interject.
Well, let me hear it.
Okay, so first and foremost, he said that I invited him for dinner. That's not correct. He had invited me to a screening of a film that he directed and wrote and produced and wanted me to see it. He then suggested that we would have dinner prior to screening the film, and I agreed. He came to my house and obviously suggested that we go grocery shopping. I had groceries that belonged to me. If you want to have dinner at my place and have me cook, of course you're gonna pay for the groceries. I understand that the new age men may be a little different and like to go 50-50 and split things with women. However, I tend to be a lot more traditional. Splitting the bill would not have been an issue if that had been presented. Another thing, he mentioned that I did not have a job. That's also incorrect. At the time, I was a freelance individual, so I had many jobs, and I always had funds, and I always also had groceries in my home. He never looked in my fridge to determine whether I had groceries or not. When we went back to my place...
Is this the jacket?
That is the jacket, the alleged $600
This is your exhibit A,
jacket.
I believe.
That is correct.
And you took this photograph?
I did.
Did you know that the Wolverine wore that jacket?
There's no proof of that. I don't think he knows that for certain. Okay. If he spent $600, unfortunately, he was scammed.
Was there any time that the plaintiff asked for his jacket back?
There was no time that he sent me a text message for the jacket. He called me repeatedly, but at that point, I was made to feel very uncomfortable by him, and so I had went along and blocked him on text message.
Did you text her?
No, sir. I like to be very, very direct. I called her. I left her a voicemail. She didn't respond. I called her again, find out that I'm blocked.